In more detail about St. Joe's now?
I could, but I'd like not to give away my game plan. No, I'm just teasing. Yeah, you know, the older team, which makes a older team with great awareness of who they are and how they win. I think one thing that jumps off the page is Coach Martelli's able to make defensive adjustments in game, the way they play pick and rolls or post ups, and they're all on the same page immediately, which you have to have a veteran team to do that, and smart players. So they're able to strategize with effectiveness. You know, and they have talent. You know, Miles and Bembry and Hugs kid Aaron Brown. I mean, those guys. But Bembry's, you know, I've known about Bembry. I mean, all the pro guys know Bembry because of his athleticism. But they got shot makers, so they got components. You know, like the rest of us. I mean, none of us are infallible. You know, they're not a shot blocking team. So what they do is run around and double post-ups as much as possible to keep those guys out of foul trouble. You know, so which is exactly what I would do. What I used to do when we were small, or smaller and not deep on the front line. You got to do what you got to do to make sure you swarm and keep those guys, because they're better. Their two leading scorers got to play post defense. So he hides them with traps, some zone, but mostly sometimes triple teaming the low post. So you know, they're a very good, older, tough team. They know who they are, and they're going to be a tough out. Period.
Similar to anybody you've played?
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I don't really get into all that type of stuff. I mean, they do some things similar to certain teams, but really, they're anti. See, in our league we're really the only team that tried to score in the post. Us in Memphis. So we don't play a lot of teams that try to score in the low post. Even SMU had bigger guys, but they were really, you know, everything was kind of around Nick Moore. You know, they're two bigger guys are their leading scorers. Memphis is the only team in our league like that.
So they're like you a little bit.
Yeah, in some ways, you know, obviously with Gary and Octavius. But those guys get it done a little differently. You know, they're more mobile, they're more athletic. You know, Bembry's a great athlete. The other guys, you know, can really shoot it. A 15-footer for him is it's Miles, number 15. Yeah, I mean, it's like a layup for him. You know, kind of like it used to be for me at LaSalle. You know, any shot I could get off, he yelled layup.
You said the other day.
Then I woke up.
Offense would take, you go as far as your offense, and you said that you have a lot of teams.
Yeah, I think
you're playing well offensively now.
Yeah, I think that in this tournament, you know, you got to defend and rebound, or you're gonna have no chance against really good teams. Well, you're not going to be able to not play well and win anymore. That's everybody. That's period. You know, I was looking at our thing. I think in the morning game, I saw Maryland play South Dakota State, or the guys in the office they were talking about how good South Dakota State is, and people don't understand that. You know, so you know, you're going to have to make shots. You're going to have to play well on the offensive end. I would say this. I mean, we won 10 of our last 13 until what happened to us in the conference tournament. So really, we're looking at a team that, in our mind, won 11 of our last 14. So if you ask me if we're playing well, I would say yes, absolutely. I mean, if anybody else had done that, you would say they're playing really well. You know, at times our perimeter shooting has struggled. You know, at times we've missed some chippies around the basket. But, I mean, everybody does that.
Troy is, I'm sorry.
That was basically, I was going the same place. Troy's really picked up his game. It's almost like he's kind of listened to you and been a little bit more aggressive here in the last, well, even month.
Well, I think you know, he's starting to. The more you're the responsible guy with the ball in your hands, I think the more you become comfortable in your own skin, and it gets tougher and tougher, I think, for young kids because everything's so scrutinized with social media. You know, if you're the guy that takes too many shots nowadays, you know, if you read that stuff, you're either the hero or the goat, or, you know, you're the guy that don't pass the ball enough, and blah, blah, blah. You know, there was a time, you know, you didn't hear anything. So I think it's harder to be that guy nowadays. And in his case, because he's such a good person and a good young man, and he's very conscientious, and He is only a 20-year-old junior, and there's multiple 20-year-old freshmen in college basketball. It's taken him some time to get comfortable with his role on this team. But I think he's there now, no question about it.
You comfortable with how the health is going to be by Friday, you think?
Well, I've been getting rest, taking my vitamins.
So you're okay?
Yeah, because, you know, at this point, two things I'll say is, at this point, all the bad beats and all the bad calls don't matter anymore. None of it matters. You know, so you have a different seed. I don't think anybody's great this year, you know, and I'm sure everybody's going to pick the favorites, and it's comical because, you know, all year it's parity, and then all of a sudden they pick the favorites. I'm glad you and I don't go to the track with those guys. They'd go busted when we're in Saratoga. But you should have called my brother.
Yeah, I should have.
But you know, I really believe that when you try to advance in this tournament for us or anybody else, you're going to have to play well. Somebody's going to have to get hot, and you're going to have to make some free throws, hit some big shots, and find a way to win and get on to the next game. I think you're going to see a microcosm of our season in this tournament with a lot of close games, a lot of scrutinized calls, and some crazy endings. I mean, I just think that the tournament's really evenly matched. I just believe that. I mean, when you watch games, it's across the board, really. But for us, the slate is clean. You know, we don't have to worry about all that stuff, because even if we'd have had a great luck this year and won 28 games, you still got to go play a good team. You know, you still got to go win games in the tournament. You know, they're not, you know, they don't just give you the W because you're a 3 seed or whatever. You know what have you. So none of it matters anymore. So I'm hoping that'll help our team, because I think, you know, as the bad luck mounted, there was a lot of pressure on the kids. I was trying to relieve it for them and just trying to get them to live in the moment. But, you know, let's be honest. I mean, kids, they know what's going on. They know what was at stake in the last month of the season, and they did an unbelievable job, the kids, of dealing with that. Really, of dealing with that. You can try as much as a coach, as their coach, to block all that stuff out. So I've just kind of let them exhale. And we haven't even talked about St. Joe's yet, and we will not until we're flying out after practice. And we won't talk about St. Joe's till tomorrow before we go to practice. You know, these guys are. I just know. I know the stress they've been under for the last month, trying to make sure that they made the tournament because of all the tough losses. So I've just wanted to let them relax and get it, you know, and almost have vacation, and let's get ready to go into a new season. As far as our health, we'll see how practice goes. I mean, we don't practice very much, but you got to run up and down a little bit. At some point, I got to put a defender in there when we run up and down. You know, Gary's doing much better. You know, Shaq's looking better. So we'll see. I mean, you know, by Friday, I would expect everybody to suit up and give it a go. The question will be, you know, how effective are they?
You have to coach emotion at all this week with the guys?
Nah. You know, I think the key is when I watch teams, I've had 8 teams in the tournament now, when the selection comes out, you know, watching the players, how excited are they about playing in this tournament? I think that's a big part of who's going to advance. I just believe that. So I think emotion's great. The more they care, the more they really want to keep playing and they want to advance, the better chance you have. You know, I think sometimes coaches, we get caught up way too much in our focus, our opponent, instead of our team and our players, because they're going to determine the outcome, and they're going to determine how far we go. We can't control the other team. You got to X and O to an extent, and you got to have a game plan. But your own team and their mental state is really important. But as far as being too emotional, I don't think that's an issue at all, no.
So how did you like the way your team?
Yeah, they were great. They were, because I can't listen to the debacle that they called a show, so I had left the room. I was in the next room on my iPad, actually watching our offense versus UConn, and you know, and sitting with my daughter who was playing on her iPad, and then I heard the room erupt. And I went in there, and I could just see the guys smiling and hugging and all that stuff. So, you know, I've had some teams that were very ho-hum. Not that they didn't want to win, but it's just that, you know, it's interesting. I think that is a factor in it. So we'll see. I don't mind going out west. I know people ask me. I think it eliminates distraction. You know, and you can just kind of get together and try to make a pack to go on a run, and there's no distraction around you.